Hello and welcome back to On the Break. I'm here with Mike. He's our Eagles fan. He's got the Eagles hat on. But before we get into all of that, we're here to talk about the NFL. Mike, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Well, after Sun, it took me a day to recover after Sunday night, but it's Tuesday, brand new week,
Yeah.
feeling good. Don't need to watch the Eagles this week; they're on a bye.
Let's
Thank
go.
God. Thank the heavens.
It's interesting that you say that you had to recover, even though you destroyed the Cowboys. But I know you have a lot to say about that, right? But
We didn't destroy
before
them.
we do that, I am going to have to bring up another game. I'm sorry. Shout out to Charles, by the way. He had Dalvin Cook in one of his leagues, the Vikings and the Packers. Dalvin Cook went off. He went more than off. The Packers had no answers for him. It's been the
He
Packers'
literally
problem.
he annihilated them.
The Packers'
That
problem for the past
Packers run
few years
defense.
has been run defense, and that showed. He just every time he got the ball, he was running for at least like 4 yards. He was a great player. He's such a great player. I loved him coming out of FSU. I said he was the best running back in that class. I think Zeke's in that class, so I'm probably wrong about that. But Dalvin Cook is that dude, right? But what do you make of this Packers-Vikings game? Aaron Rodgers getting strip sacked at the end. That ball went flying 10 yards. It was still a fumble. But Aaron Rodgers finding another way to lose a game, man. It wasn't his fault, obviously. That defense could not do anything. But what did you make of this? What does this mean for the Packers? The Vikings, what does this mean?
Like you said, McCrooch, Packers run defense is the biggest problem. Their pass defense is totally fine. Jair Alexander having an all-pro season. I honestly think he's a top 3 corner at the moment. You could even say he's probably better than Stephon Gilmore this season.
Yeah.
But Dalvin Cook literally annihilated this Packers. It literally was when I was looking at the highlights, it looked like as if Dalvin Cook was running against Pop Warner football team.
Yep.
Dalvin Cook ran 5.4 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns, over 160 yards. And actually, no, over 200 scrimmage yards for Dalvin Cook.
4 total touchdowns.
Dalvin Cook even led them in passing. 63 receiving yards, led the day more than Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff. And obviously this time, I know that Aaron Rodgers is getting older, but this time it is not his fault. It wasn't necessarily his fault. Jamal Williams had a decent day, honestly. 75 yards, not that bad. Devontae Adams, although he didn't get much in the air for receiving yards, he did have 3. All those Aaron Rodgers touchdowns went to Devontae Adams, still a freaking beast. Don't understand why people don't say he doesn't have any weapons. Robert Tonyan, the tight end, is an emerging star at tight end.
Yeah.
And just the Packers need to go into next week and just know how to fix this run defense, because this run defense was exposed badly this week. And now Packers got to make sure they patch it up very quick. Maybe even take advantage of the deadline at this point, try and maybe take a D tackle or something like that to plug up that plug up those gaps. Because if they don't, playoff teams are going to game plan against the Packers. And what are they going to do? 4 words: run all over them.
Yeah, ground and pound. If you see a Packers-Titans Super Bowl matchup, you know who's going to win that game. They have the 49ers next week. We'll see if they can stop. The Niners have had a carousel of running backs because of the injuries. We'll see if they can stop that offense.
Of course.
But, it's just your point about Tonyan being the leading receiver for the Packers. Dalvin Cook being the leading receiver for the Vikings. It goes to show how good this Packers secondary is in terms of a passing game. But that run defense is just such a problem. And it's something they should have addressed. I think it's a bigger need. It was a bigger need than the wide receiver issue they have, for sure.
Exactly. That's what I thought so, too. And Allen Lazard, before he got injured, not a bad receiver. Wide receiver, too. Yeah. I think he was the answer to that.
And they had Devin Funchess before he opted out.
This game also showed, too, how mediocre Kirk Cousins is as a quarterback.
Yeah, he still won the game. But this was all Dalvin Cook. This was nothing with
Kirk Cousins. That's all they do.
He's great at handing
the more the ball's in Dalvin Cook's hands, the more likely the Vikings will win. The more you give Kirk Cousins time to throw and pass, the less likely you're going to win the game.
I've been saying that Baker Mayfield is just Kirk Cousins, but just 2.0 at this point. But I mean, we'll see if
That's
I mean
honestly
if
not
hey,
a bad.
if Baker Mayfield's already Kirk Cousins, let's see if he can get any better. But that's
We'll
that's
see.
different. Speaking of Baker, the Raiders and the Browns had an absolute. I mean, I don't even put this on anybody for the loss for the Browns. Well, no, the Browns actually no. I'll get into that. But it was a 16-6 game. It was ugly. If you saw the Raiders trying to kick a field goal, that ball it did one of these. It just the wind was bad. The conditions was bad. I flicked to Columbus in the MLS, and they was just it was flurrying, it was snowing, it was just disgusting field conditions, and the Browns and Raiders had to suffer through that. And these games, when you're playing an ugly game like this, it comes down to who's got a better team in the trenches. The Raiders are better in the trenches. They won the football game. But if you look at the Browns, 5 drops from Cleveland, 5 dropped balls from the receivers for Cleveland. Baker went 12 for 25. Add 5 more passes that should have been caught. That's a pretty good football game. No touchdowns for Baker Mayfield, but one of them was dropped in the end zone by Jarvis Landry. And I mean, Derek Carr had an okay game. Josh Jacobs, 31 carries, 128 yards. He's a workhorse back. The Raiders won. The Browns are 5-3. It's not the worst thing. I think it's fair to blame it on the field conditions, but the Browns defense showed that they're not that great again, and the receivers got to catch the football. Mike, what do you think?
Well, hate to say, I mean, Baker Mayfield did not have an impressive day. 122 yards in the air, under 50% completion. Not very impressive. Browns did have some drops, though. I think they're really going to miss OBJ at the moment, considering, I mean, Higgins only got targeted like once. Jarvis and Harrison Bryant, who I never even heard of, only got like 7 catches collectively.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like, I mean, I understand that the Raiders definitely are better in the trenches than the Browns this season, but why not just keep on giving it to Kareem Hunt? That's what I did. That's what I always think. When the wind conditions are awful, you can't do a lot of deep shots in the air. Not that Baker Mayfield could really make a lot of them, but who else do you have in the backfield that can make things happen? Kareem Hunt. 14 carries. On 14 carries, he had 4.7 yards per carry. That's something. That's something that the Browns coaches should have game planned for. Definitely should have taken more into consideration. I mean, Josh Jacobs ran all over his Browns team, 128 yards. Derek Carr he had an okay game, 112 in the air, 1 touchdown to Renfro. But yeah, the wind conditions were horrible in this game. I saw that kick; it was absolutely dreadful to watch. The conditions were just horrible. This game was definitely one of the trenches. I think the Browns definitely should have ran the ball more and fed Kareem Hunt a lot more than they should have. Like, honestly, like the Raiders learned that. They learned that when the conditions were a lot worse, just ground and pound. Josh Jacobs had 31 carries. And guess who won the game?
Vegas. I was so close to saying Oakland.
But
I mean,
I get that sometimes too, McCooch. Yeah, but I definitely think the Browns should have grounded and pounded a lot more. But I mean, Vegas won a really just ugly game to watch, especially with those conditions. I don't think the Browns need to panic right now. They just got to go into next week and just be a little bit smarter, especially with who they have in the backfield.
Yeah, this is a lot of people put this game on Stefanski as well for that play calling, like you mentioned. But I mean, the highest percentage of drop passes in Week 8, 20% for Baker Mayfield. That's 5. Browns receivers got to catch the football. Stefanski's got to call more run plays right now. I mean, if the Browns have Nick Chubb, they win this football game. To me, it's just this is a week where you kind of look at, okay, this is who we are. You found out who you were. You're a ground and pound team that likes to run a lot of play action, and you got to catch the football when you run that. But they'll figure it out. We'll see if they do, actually. You never know with Cleveland. They will either figure it out or fall off a cliff.
Like you said, I think it was definitely on Stefanski.
Stefanski, good old Stefanski.
Jesus Christ. But I definitely think the game plan should have been a lot better, especially with these conditions. Ground and pound should have been the answer. Kareem Hunt is very capable of making big plays with his legs.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they've used a lot of play action with Baker Mayfield because he chokes badly when he's in the pocket under pressure, as we've seen. But, yeah, they should just use whatever they had to use to win this game, and they didn't. And the Raiders just got John Gruden had a better game plan going into this game.
Yeah, and I know when we have Mike on the show, when you're watching this, you're waiting for me to just get to that Eagles game. It's always a fun time. Whether the Eagles win or lose, we're all sitting here. What does Mike think about those Eagles? Well, Mike, I'm going to ask you that question. The Cowboys took a loss yet again. It's probably your favorite day, but I know you're not too happy. 23-9. The Cowboys lose again. Ben DiNucci not able to get anything going. The Eagles, 23 points, one of them being a defensive touchdown. How do your Eagles do, Mike? I know you're bad. I know you're angry.
Well, first of all, Macooch, the Eagles this should have been like 44-9. This should have not been 23-9. And the only reason why they got more points because the Cowboys took an intentional safety, and number two, they took a defensive touchdown in the fourth quarter. It was only 15-9 and going into the fourth quarter. That's embarrassing. Against the worst defense in the NFL this season, the Eagles are only able to muster 15 points.
Yeah.
And at halftime, the Cowboys led by 2. How is that possible? How bad do you have to be? Okay, the Eagles got their people back. They got Dallas Goedert back. They got Rager back, who is going to be a star on this in this receiver core. But then, first sack, okay, the line blew up. I don't know why they put back Jason Peters at left tackle. They put a whole fossil fuel at left tackle. Malata starts at it's his first start at right tackle. I don't expect him to do as well, especially against DeMarcus Lawrence.
Fair.
But then the second play of the game, Carson Wentz rolls out of the pocket. I'm like, oh, great, he's about to bomb this. Instead, he just sits there, and I don't know if he went brain numb, but he just eats a sack and fumbles the ball. Carson Wentz had 4 turnovers against the worst defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I hate to say, but it's just his worst game of the season against the worst defense in the NFL. That is just absolutely unacceptable. Hey, once after the game, he's like, I'm going to continue what I do. Yeah, I made some mistakes. I could protect the ball. You could protect the ball more. First of all, he threw an awful interception into the end zone. The second one, not really his fault. The wind kind of carried the ball a little bit to the right. But he fumbled the second fumble. Yeah, he got literally blown the hell up by Van Der Esch. He lit him up. I would expect any quarterback to fumble from that hit.
Yeah.
But the first fumble, he just sits there. Nobody around him. Throw the ball away. This is the exact same script I've seen from Carson Wentz every single game this season. This is an absolutely unacceptable win. I am not happy with the win. Of course, the Cowboys, you guys are losers. Your fan base sucks. Your fan base is annoying. The most nauseating, worst fan base in the history of sports. But I just expected a lot more from my team. Of course, my defense showed up against Ben DiNucci. Ben DiNucci threw more yards than Carson Wentz. That is embarrassing.
40 passing attempts for Ben DiNucci.
And 180 yards compared to Wentz thrown for only 123. And obviously, running the ball with Boston Scott was working. But obviously, Doug Peters is like, oh, no, you know what? Let me just have my quarterback, who's been struggling for this game so far, just to keep on throwing the ball and giving the ball back in their territory.
Yeah.
This is just such an unexcusable performance. Dougie P needs to play call a lot better. His play calling has been abysmal this season. Carson Wentz, worst game of the season. I just can't. This game is no excuses for him. He should have blown this team out. Instead, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 2 fumbles lost.
Yeah,
that is just. I have no words.
He's at a loss for words. Mike, I got a question for you then. Next week against the Giants, or you have a bye week. A lot of time to rethink this game.
Yeah. Wentz needs to do a lot of thinking about how he's going to protect the ball better.
Yeah. You have a game coming after that bye week against the New York Football Giants, who just took a major loss. Not a major loss. I mean, they had a close game against Tom Brady, but do you think you're going to win that game?
I mean, I hope so. I think we will, but I mean, at this point, we can win the division with 5-6 wins.
Yeah.
I think.
I
mean, I see the potential this team has, but it just goes to O-line play is just there's so many injuries. Nobody is starting on the O-line except Jason Kelsey, who's the only one really holding this O-line together. I mean, the injuries are not an excuse anymore in the wide receiver core. Fulgham is a star, as you can see right here. He is actually my lock. He is
Let's see.
you
Let's
can't
see.
see right now, but he is my lock screen. He is the GOAT. He is the best receiver to ever live.
Yep.
That
The
is sarcasm, by
greatest
the way.
of
Before
all time.
anybody comes at me in the comments and goes like, "Oh, that's not true." Well, it's sarcasm.
Hey,
Silly.
we'll see.
And
Maybe
Rager's a
that's a
star.
prediction right there.
This is just not an excuse anymore. I really like what the potential I see from this offense, but it also starts too with Carson Wentz just stop playing a lot, just really recklessly. I
Yeah.
mean, he reminds me of Brett Favre at this point.
Brett Favre.
He really reminds me of always looking for the big play, can carry the team on his back, but also could be so costly if he messes
Yeah.
up.
And hey, Brett Favre is a Super Bowl champion, so there is that. We'll see if the Eagles get
And Carson
another one.
Wentz is a Super Bowl champion too, and that's
Well, I
why
mean, okay, come on now. He didn't win that Super Bowl. Nick Foles won that Super Bowl.
He would have won that Super Bowl if he wasn't injured.
I do
But
agree.
he has
I do agree.
But one thing, he has a ring, and he
This is
was the
true.
reason why they were in that Super Bowl because he
Yeah.
gave him home field advantage.
Yeah, and
I'll
Jimmy
say
Garoppolo
that.
has 2 Super Bowl rings. There is that. Anyway,
Yeah, but it's
yeah,
Garoppolo.
it is Jimmy G. But another big game, the biggest game of the year, and it was a 1:00 game that we didn't even get. The Steelers and the Ravens, my favorite rivalry in all of football. The Steelers came out with a close 28-24 win. The Steelers defense showed up against Lamar Jackson, getting 2 interceptions, including a pick six. That defense looks phenomenal. They look amazing. Ben Roethlisberger, clean game, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. For the Ravens, J.K. Dobbins looked like a star coming out of that fourth quarter. Mark Ingram
Very good. Ran hard.
very good. Willie Snead had a decent game. The Ravens offense played well, except for Lamar Jackson. But that Steelers team played good all around. They played some of their best football. They won the game. The Ravens did it. The Steelers remain undefeated. Baltimore falls to 5-2, staying in range of Cleveland for second place in that division. Mike, what did you make of that game? Because it was a fun game that most of us didn't even get to watch the entire thing if you don't have Red Zone. So it was good, though. What do you think?
Well, Steelers front seven, best in football, hands down. You can't say anything. The front seven is literally why they're 7-0. This front seven is nasty. They are hungry wolves. They are here to tear you to shreds. The Steelers front seven is something to be just very admirable to see how they put this up and really just constructed.
Do they remind you of your Eagles
season.
Underdogs?
Yeah, but actually a lot better. I'll say that. But the Steelers front seven is every time I think of them, I just think of the front seven. The steel curtain is back.
Yes.
Their secondary can be susceptible at times, as we seen in a few weeks, but their front seven is the reason why they are still in games. They will eat any O-line apart to the shreds. They held Derrick Henry to under 100 yards. That's saying something. But it's back to this game. Lamar Jackson is not an MVP candidate. I don't care what you say. This year, he's not MVP candidate. There's a reason why some people thought he should have never won MVP. He has a good system around him. He does not have the arm strength. He was very inaccurate throughout the game. First drive, opening drive, he throws an easy check down that was obviously covered and pick six. Easy. If he didn't have that pick six, maybe the Ravens could have pulled out a win and upset the Steelers. That would have been 24-21 by then. But, Lamar Jackson, I saw an interesting stat the other day. 24-2 and or I think undefeated, I don't remember, and just games that are just not big games. And then he's 0-6 against games that really matter. These are one of the games that matter against a good team. Lamar Jackson can't win against these good teams. Look what happened this year against Kansas City. He did not have a good game. He threw for under 100 passing yards.
Bad game from Lamar against Kansas City.
Bad game. Another bad game here, too. 2 interceptions. And, I mean, I think he had a fumble loss. I'm not very sure. But just not impressive stuff.
The fumble was at the end of the game.
The reigning MVP, under 50% completion. Yeah, a fumble, 2 picks. Dobbins really looks like he's going to lead the Ravens backfield from here on. Almost 8 yards a carry. That's just great stuff. Willie Snead had a great day. But John Harbaugh and the Ravens front office did a great job of building a great team around Lamar Jackson because they realized something. He's a mobile quarterback. He is not a pocket passer. Yeah. But also, to develop in the NFL, to become one of the greats, you need to learn how to throw in the pocket too. You can't always just be snap, nobody's open, or people are open, but you can't make that throw, so you just tuck and run. That can't be Lamar Jackson's career. He's got to learn how to develop in this spot. And I hate when I see a lot of analysts going like, yeah, don't make him just do a lot of play action, make a lot of check downs and stuff. No, he's got to develop. If he's going to become one of the greats in this league, he's got to do it in the air too. Right now, he's proved that he can make plays and make a lot of stuff happen and a lot of sports happen with his legs.
Yeah.
Right now, he's still showing he's inept with throwing, and I don't know what else to say. It's just that Lamar Jackson really needs to improve this season, and he needs to also learn how to be a pocket passer too. And right now, he is struggling mightily. I actually saw a stat the other day too before I'll end, but Lamar Jackson has, under pressure, he has the worst completion percentage in the league right now. And for a mobile quarterback, you would think that he should do a lot better, but he's not showing that right now.
What I've always said about Lamar Jackson is that this team will always be good for as long as Lamar Jackson is a Baltimore Raven, but they will never win a Super Bowl playing like this. You will always have teams that can throw it deep, throw it out, and run the football. You have to be able to make those 20, 30-yard chunk plays, and Lamar has not shown that he can do that consistently. He showed he can do it.
Exactly.
I've seen him do it plenty of times.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to instill a legacy within this organization and the NFL, like you said, Bakuch, you need to learn how to not just do it on the legs and on the ground. You need to learn how to make those chunk plays and put that team on your back. And he has shown that he cannot put a team on his back unless he has people around him to help.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can do it. I mean, the guy's young. He's really young. He's got plenty of time to develop that arm, but we'll see if he can even do it. I don't know.
Of course, he's got a lot of time.
I don't even want to talk about this game, but I do want to offer my condolences, my serious condolences to Nico, our co-host, or our analyst, you want to say, whatever you want to call these people, great people. Offer our prayers and thoughts to the New York Jets. They got swag surfed on by the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm pretty sure every Jets fan, including Nico Federico, is now screaming into a brown paper bag as loud as possible.
Or wear one on their head. That works too. But the Jets,
True.
Fire Adam Gase. We've been. It's the same. It's the same conversation every single time. Fire Adam Gase. The Jets suck. That's all you need. Anyway, I've said my piece about that. Let's get into some actual football teams. The Chargers and the Broncos. That was a great game by Drew Lock. Justin Herbert played well too, but the Chargers were up 24-10 at one point in this game, and Drew Lock and the Denver Broncos were able to come back, throw a buzzer beater touchdown to KJ Hamler in the last seconds of the game. The battle of mediocre teams in the AFC West. This has absolutely no playoff implications whatsoever, but it was a fun football game. I mean, maybe Denver sneaks in the playoffs. I doubt it, but we'll see. This game was fun. What do you make of this Denver team, Justin Herbert? This is a matchup we're going to see for a long, long time in my eyes. What do you think?
Well, I'll go with saying one thing. The Chargers are the Falcons of the AFC.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
And they play.
I know the Chargers are not they just can't finish games. And I see this on paper. The Chargers should be definitely above 500 team right now. But their just consistency to not be able to finish these games is just going to keep on hurting them. It's been like that for the past few seasons. This Chargers team cannot finish games.
Does it come down to Anthony Lynn?
Drew Lock did not have a bad game either. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, and
Drew Lock was phenomenal.
He was good. That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised because when people were calling that Drew Lock be benched and questioning whether he'd be the face of this franchise, Drew Lock showed up. Great, excellent touch on that final touchdown to Hamler, if I'm not wrong. But Justin Herbert definitely he's going to be a shining star next season. Oh yeah, definitely when he gets more time in the offseason to practice with his teammates and stuff.
Shout out to Charles again, big Oregon guy.
Yeah, but if the Chargers just were able to finish these games, the Chargers would be a playoff contender right now. But right now, it's just the same formula over and over again for this Chargers team. But kudos to the Broncos for doing that.
Yeah, I believe if you flip their games that were one possession last year, they'd be like 11-5, I think.
Exactly. Right now, they'd probably be like maybe 4-3, 5-2. I could see.
Overtime against Kansas City. Flip that game. 21-16 against the Panthers. That's a one-possession game. Chargers and the Bucs, 7-point game. Jaguars, they won. The Saints, overtime. If they make a field goal, they win the game. Broncos. You saw what happened in this game. This team could be like 5-1 at this. It's just abysmal. But hopefully they figure it out. Now, I'll ask you one quick question. Do you fire Anthony Lynn?
No.
Okay, fair. I don't think so either. I think I like where he's heading.
I like Anthony Lynn. I like what he's doing with that team.
But the seat has to be a little bit warm at this point if this continues, for sure. It reminds me of a Dan Quinn situation.
Yeah, of course it could, but I definitely – yeah, of course, but I like a lot what he's doing with Justin Herbert in that offense. That offense is taking off right now.
If he does it again, if this happens again next season, you fire him. But this isn't the season to fire Anthony.
Of course, definitely.
Yep. I like him. I like him a lot, but
Yeah, especially with a young team, I definitely think that Lynn should stay for now.
For sure. Okay, good. We agree. Anyway, a lot of people think that I can't even remember the Bengals head coach's name, but a lot of people want to fire him. Tennessee Titans taking a loss. They're 5-2 now after losing 31-20 to the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow had his "I am here, I am in the NFL, you don't have to welcome me anymore" game. He had 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and beat one of the best teams in the AFC in the entire NFL. I love Joe Burrow. He is going to be a great quarterback for a long, long time, in my opinion. This Tennessee Titans team, I see them. This is the part where they fall off. They have Chicago. They have Indy, Baltimore, Indy again, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Detroit. And then you have the Packers. You still have to play the Texans. It's not easy going forward for the Titans. I can see this team having a major fall off this season, especially if Ryan Tannehill shows more mediocreness going forward. I was never a huge fan of this team. I was shocked they were 5-0, and to see them lose 2 games in a row, I mean, one was against the Steelers, but losing against the Bengals, this doesn't surprise me at all. I am not high on this team. What do you think?
Well, I was watching a live stream of the AFC playing Among Us the other day, and it turns out the Titans were the imposter among them.
Yes.
So I'm about to say that I knew all along this Titans team are pretenders. They're not a Super Bowl contender right now. They literally just took their second L of the week against a Bengals team that still has a defense in the making.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give one thing though. Joe Burrow has a very, very, very bright future ahead of him. I really like what I see from him. And Zach Taylor, I like what he's doing with this offense too. It's just that this defense can't really stop anything. That's just one thing. Ryan Tannehill is a mediocre quarterback. End of the story. I cannot believe my eyes when I was on Instagram the other day, Macooch, and I saw that people were saying, "Is Ryan Tannehill an MVP candidate?" No.
Especially when his team goes 9-7.
Ryan Tannehill is a mediocre game system quarterback. Game
manager.
Game managing.
We knew what you meant. Don't you worry.
Whatever.
Take away Derrick Henry from this Titans team. They're not very good.
But they're not a good team. They will be a losing team right now. Derrick Henry is the reason why they are relevant at the moment. I mean, they have weapons around them. Corey Davis had a great game. He is definitely on the rise.
A.J. Brown's a baller. Jonnu Smith's a baller.
A.J. Brown's a freaking beast. I mean, although he didn't have the biggest game this week, he is still an absolute beast. Jonnu Smith is a rising tight end right now.
He's basically Delaney Walker too.
Yeah, you could say that. I would say maybe a little bit faster, maybe a little bit.
Well, you got to remember Delaney Walker when he was at his peak Jonnu Smith's a little faster to me, but Delaney Walker was that fast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jonnu Smith is like a little bit faster, but he's definitely a clone of Delaney Walker. They found a really great find right there with Jonnu Smith, but
for sure.
Yeah, Tannehill is just gonna from here on. I think they have a chance of reaching 500 very soon, sooner than you think. So Titans fans, brace yourself for a very rough next few weeks because this Titans team, they are the imposters in the AFC playoff race.
They have a big game coming up against a team that a lot of people will also call the imposter of the NFC, the Chicago Bears, who just played the New Orleans Saints, who some other people also think are imposters. But there was an overtime game against New Orleans and Chicago. You got your hands in your face. I don't think you like this game very much. But, I mean...
I'm just about to go off on...
Chicago. Nick Foles in Chicago?
Yeah. Okay, so you're right, Macooch.
Take it away.
There's a feature on Among Us called to have 2 imposters. Well, in the NFC playoff race, there's not 1 imposter like in the AFC. There's 2. And guess what? The Saints and the Bears are both of them. They just don't want to tell anybody right now. They want to make it look like they're all that. Yeah. Nick Foles, another game manager quarterback right here.
Yep.
Has a turnover each game he's played. I don't know why. Don't want to go into it, but I don't know why Eagles fans are still calling bring him home. But he literally has the interception in each game he's started this season.
Yeah.
That is not a franchise quarterback. I don't know if he's on pace for like 15, 16 picks this year. That's not impressive. But
Not good.
Drew Brees, definitely still fading, sadly, but still a Hall of Famer quarterback. But I mean, he just did what he had to do, 280 yards. Alvin Kamara, don't know why you didn't give the ball more to him, but he is an absolute beast this season. He is popping off. I think not having Michael Thomas is kind of hurting them right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, although Michael Thomas is basically Antonio Brown 2.0 with all the drama he's creating around this franchise. But
a tall AB.
In a way, yeah. But again, Alvin Kamara leads in receiving, almost 100 yards in receiving. And other than, outside of Alvin Kamara, there's not these receivers that were supposed to pop off this year, they haven't really been popping off. I mean, Jared Cook is a solid tight end, but is he, below the top off any defense? No. Tre'Quan Smith isn't really popping off as much. Dante Harris is okay. But yeah, this Saints offense this offense is really missing Michael Thomas. They don't get him back soon. They're not going to make a deep playoff push, and honestly, I don't think the Saints are going to make a deep playoff push. Nor are the Chicago Bears, even though they have an absolutely top 3 defense in the NFL at the moment. But their offense is literally bottom 5 in the league in rankings. I know statistically, in statistical rankings, they're in bottom 5. This offense is with this offense, they're not going to make a deep playoff push, no matter who's at quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. We got 2 more games that I want to get to. Let's get to them. New England and Buffalo. The New England Patriots are 2-5. That's really all you got to say with that. Buffalo is now 6-2. It looks like they're going to run away with this division. Absolutely. Now it's Buffalo versus Miami for the division right now. It's not New England. They're done. Cam fumbled the ball at the end of the game and completely blew all the chances that the Patriots had to maybe win this division. Oh, he's laughing. Cam Newton, not very good. Josh Allen didn't have the greatest game either. I mean, this was just an ugly football game that ended 24-21. What do you make of the Patriots, man? We know the Bills are good, but the Patriots not looking too hot.
When Cam first signed with the New England Patriots, I thought this was a new beginning. Greatest coach of all time to ever step foot on the football field. And I thought Cam Newton was going to have a redemption season. I mean, you saw week 1, it was a little bit of hype. We all know that he's more of a mobile quarterback. He's fading a lot in the pocket, as we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, my man Damian Harris, he's on my fantasy team. I knew it. Lead bell cow back going forward. Really like what I see from him. They just got to keep up pounding this ball. Over 100 yards, 6 yards a carry on the ground.
Yeah.
The Patriots team right now is built to run. It's weird because, I mean, other than that, you don't have too many weapons outside. You got Damian Bird, who's not doing too much to help. I mean, you got N'Keal Harry. I don't know what's going on with him. He's supposed to be popping off already. He's a first-round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this Patriots, I think they're in rebuild mode because they had lost a lot of people on the defensive side. Their defense is not elite anymore. They're good, but they're not
it was
great.
a lot of opt-outs for the Patriots.
Of course, a lot of opt-outs. They lost a lot of people in free agency too from New England, and I think it's just time to rebuild. I don't know why people are blaming Belichick. Belichick is doing what he could with this offense.
Yeah,
I know that Cam Newton is very turnover prone, as we've seen. My goodness,
always
hasn't done much with his arm all season, and Cam Newton experiment in New England is running dry very quick, and it's sad to see because I really was happy to see Cam Newton return to the NFL in a starting position, but now we're seeing why people didn't really go all over him when he was a free agent in the first place. Now we're starting to see why. But Josh Allen didn't have a great game. I mean, I hope he bounces back next game. They just really ran this ball. 28 carries between Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. This was just a ground pound game for the Bills, and it worked.
They won the game. That's all that matters. They got a tough schedule coming. They got Seattle, Arizona, the Chargers, the 49ers, the Steelers. Still got to play the Broncos, the Patriots, the Dolphins again. This is going to be interesting to watch, this AFC East race with Miami Miami, who won against the Rams. But it wasn't really much else besides an absolute domination by Miami's defense. That's all we really got to say.
Of
Now,
course, yeah,
Monday
Miami
Night
defense
Football.
is
Yeah,
legit.
yeah, they're good. No, they're real. They're good. Monday Night Football, we're going to end here. The Buccaneers and the Giants. Daniel Jones had a terrible game, but it was a close game, 25-23 last night. Brady Brady'd, the Bucks bucked, and Daniel Jones turned the ball over. This was just
What's new?
abysmal. What do you got, man?
Yeah, I guess the Bucks came in all cocky, thinking they're gonna blow out this team. They nearly went into overtime with this Giants team,
Yeah.
who was just not a good team at all on the offensive side of the ball. Against a 1-6, now 1-7 Giants team, they nearly had to go into overtime with this. Not impressive for the Bucks. I mean, their defense at times looked a little susceptible. I mean, Danny Dimes really dimed up, especially on the last in the final minutes of the game. Dime to Golden Tate over to safety, and
That
just a
2-point
lucky,
conversion, though.
and also a lucky break by the Bucks defense.
That was pass interference. I'll say that was PI.
That's why I say that's why you see the key word lucky break.
Yeah, but here's the
Very
thing: if
lucky
Daniel
break
Jones
by the
leads
Bucks
that
defense.
receiver more towards the right pylon, that's a 2-point conversion, and you
Yep,
wouldn't be
that's
talking about
overtime.
this. So,
Mhm.
yes,
why
it
the
was
Bucks
PI, but it's also on Daniel Jones at the same time. But I don't think you give up on Daniel Jones. I think you still have to give him a little more time, let him play out his rookie contract. But it's not looking bright in New York. I mean, it's just not.
As it's not sunny in Philadelphia right now, it's not even sunny. It's thundering in New York right now.
Very
I can tell you that.
overcast, a lot of clouds.
Overcast, definitely, yeah. But
Yeah.
Daniel Jones still turning this ball over. I mean, I do like what I see from him. I see some potential. I see him make a lot of good throws, but also make a lot of questionable throws.
Yeah.
Like a lot of overthrows, a lot of underthrows, just not protecting the ball as he should. And I definitely don't think Giants fans. I don't think you should quit on Daniel Jones just yet.
Right.
And it definitely don't quit on this team yet. This defense is basically the bright spot for the Giants right now. This offense definitely is in need of rebuild. I definitely have heard that Golden Tate's on the block. I heard trade rumors with Evan Ingram even happening. Evan Ingram's a choker, can't catch. but I give the Giants a few years. They're still in rebuild mode. So New York, I know it's miserable right now, but don't expect anything big from your New York Football Giants at the moment.
Patience
is key for this Giants.
Always patience for both teams in New York. We'll see what happens. Just everybody if your team is terrible, stay patient. It'll happen eventually. Unless if you're Cleveland or Detroit. Shout out to the Colts blowing out the Detroit Lions. Love to see that. Anyway, Mike, thank you for coming on the show. As always, we'd love to see it. Thank you for letting it out about your Eagles, obviously. I'm John. Signing off for Mike. We are on the break. Thank you for watching. We will see you later next time.